Okay, so I am just going to go over really quick a shoot I just did and talk about the intentionality behind it, as I want to kind of relay what is going through a photographer's mind. I know, scary, when they plan a shoot, and kind of how I think about shoots in general. The first thing is I have been doing a color series, uh, and where I've been doing a shoot that's focused on a specific shade and doing everything around that color. So for this instance, you can see it's yellow, and one of the things that I like to do is come up with something that's a little bit cheeky commentary on the world or an issue whenever I'm doing these sorts of shoots, and also focus on something I've been trying to learn and want to learn to grow as a photographer. And so this is one of those instances where I wanted to work with fire, and you'll see that in a second, and to do it around yellow. So in EB Hughes, the system that I'm kind of basing this concept off of, it's a color system that my mom created for her makeup studio, Leah Blake Cosmetics, but then um, it goes on now into like the best colors for your house, so on and so forth. And I've just been kind of obsessed with that concept. So for this one with yellow, I chose my mom actually as the model. She's about to turn 58. She's the most energetic woman I know. And in EB Hughes, yellow is like an energy color. Everything that the world has when it comes to life is because of energy, and the energy is derived from the sun. So anyway, energy yellow. So for this, you can see with the makeup, my sister Aaliyah actually did the makeup, and she did a wonderful job, as she always does. But she really put in this beautiful yellow color, and then the blue and the like a soft pinky color as well, to create this sort of balanced eye look that really blends in with my backdrop. Now my backdrop, you can see a little bit here, it's got a lot of these color elements in it, so it's perfect when you work with a makeup artist who understands you as an artist, because they really nail it every time. Now another thing that I really appreciate and like in photos is when you're styling someone, you're utilizing like movement, and you want to have a dress that you can move around in. I've done some shoots where the model can't move around much in the dress, and that's never as much fun as a dress or outfit that is purposeful for movement. This is where I brought in this tool right here, and it's in her yellow tones. But the thing that I love the most, I kind of draped it over this headpiece I found, is that the sparkles I knew would kind of capture that element of flame sparks that comes across in a lot of these photos. So that was kind of like tying in what I knew was going to be an element that I really was excited to do. And I have a lot more flame photos I'm still editing, where you can see a lot of those sparks. So that draws that in. Now, the other thing is, I wanted her, my mom has great hair. Everyone compliments it, but it's too iconic of her. And I like to switch it up a little bit. I wanted this to be a woman who's 58. She's a goddess. She's energetic. She's not to be looked over. And I think as a society, we're pretty familiar with women as they age being kind of glossed over and not looked at anymore. And that's, I think, bullshit. So I wanted to do a goddess look. Now, goddesses typically have a little bit longer hair. I think that can be problematic in many ways, but this was just a way to add a different element to her. So anyway, so with all of that, I kind of styled it so that she had this tool that would be moved around. I tied it later on to her hands for safety reasons, because that fire, it wasn't actually as close as it looks in these images, but it's still pretty close, and it's fire, and tool lights quickly. So anyway, so there's that. And then another element that I like to bring in is this backdrop. This backdrop I painted, and I'm kind of obsessed with doing more than just point and shoot. So with that, and that's not anything bad about doing that. It's just when I'm doing something for fun and to grow, I need to challenge myself. So I love painting, and I used all of these colors in this backdrop are actually like the her best colors in each of those hues that go well with yellow. And I kind of created this frame within a frame to, because I knew I was going to position her so that these angles sort of brought in the motion and the flow of the photo. Whenever you look at a photo, each photo is designed to follow a certain movement. So I posed her so that her hands were kind of in line with this right here. So your eye like goes in here, it travels up. Wow, look at that beauty, and then it flows down to this hand that then takes you out to the side of the photo as well. And all of this is about posing. It's about angling your lens so that you're getting the right image within it, and just being really intentional, more than just taking a picture of someone who looks pretty and them looking pretty in the camera. There's a lot that goes on, like behind the scenes. Modeling is really hard, photography is really hard, styling is really hard, makeup is really hard. Just as a reminder, respect the people behind each element of what you appreciate in art, because there are people who just specialize in that one thing, and I always value learning from them. So when I study a lot on how to position my clients and models in a frame so that they are most aligned with their body and the image. So she's got this great pose where the leg is coming out. It's disrupting a little bit so that you're drawn to the whole entire photo. Now, same thing here. This was really fun because back here, actually, we had lit this fire, and my neighbor came out and he wanted to join in on the fun, so he asked me if he could light his fire, which worked perfectly because now I have this fire back here, and it's really bringing in the eye. So it makes it seem more like she's wholly surrounded by fire, and especially this image right here where he had just lit it. So it was pretty crazy, and it looped in really nicely with my fire in the front. Now I did a little bit of a different tonality here than this one, just because there was a lot more of, now what I would like to say, the reason why I did this with the fire, distortion. There was an image I did where there was two young girls, and I did during the day, and I took a picture of them, their sisters hugging, and there was this beautiful distortion, as you can see on the image. Now I wanted to replicate that, um, and I wanted to, but a little bit more subtly. And so that's why I use this fire and the concept of fire and energy, because I wanted that distortion. Now you can see it. It's the heat. What it is the heat wave and light, and it's hitting the camera. So what I did was I kind of made it so that it looked like she was rising from the flames, and I got this just like lovely distortion right here, and you can kind of see it just rippling across the image. Now, I love all sorts of distortion, but this one a little more dramatic. And I thought about actually editing in like a crisper photo of her face in here, but I kind of like the energy behind this too. It's just, I'm all about the extra, and it really resembles, the flame resembles a lot of what her dress flow was, so I like that. There's a lot of images I gotta go through that I'm kind of obsessed with. So anyway, like basically you're seeing just a lot of this energy in the fire and her posing, and that's really what I wanted to bring to the table. Now I did some in full sun too, because I wanted to show sort of the transition between this like the goddess who's very calm and a lot of more movement in the outfit and the dress, which I have more of those too, just so that I could really get in on that posing, and really work on utilizing my art form of painting with the pose. And then I knew as soon as I added in this fire, and then this is darkness, I've got just one directional lighting on this side, further away from the fire for safety reasons and my gear and my mother. And so I have to work within that one directional lighting, which is going to make the backdrop, it still looks beautiful, but then I can't focus so much on her flinging fabrics because that's just a fire hazard. So this is my way around, um like not being able to do as much with the positioning of where she is in relation to the backdrop, um in the fire. So anyway, so here's some unedited images, and you can kind of see, for instance, that there's a lot of um, distortions. So for I love this one, distortions within this image that in the sparks. So anyway, that's just about how I kind of go about my shoots. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm totally down to answer anything and share kind of how I do stuff. Gotta go prepare for, I guess, a tornado watch now. So have a good day.